I am a voice of Afghan youth, a voice of the future. I belong to a new generation which will be free and honest and which will work hard for our prosperity. But I, the youth, tell you an ancient story. It is the history of our kings and princes, the Shahnama. It is a story of thieves and cheats and fraudsters and traitors. It is the story of knaves who would sell their grandmothers to the enemy for another house in Dubai. For the moment, this Shahnama is not just our history, but our today. Even today, the thieves and cheats trick their friends and dance with the enemies of our people. But I am young. I have many brothers and sisters, and they will be ready to strike when the day has come. We shall write a new chapter about how the young and brave of Afghanistan threw out those thieves. Our day will come and come soon. For now, just listen to the story of our kings and their hangers-on. The Prince of Kandahar. The Prince of Kandahar is now well known to all of us. The younger brother who shared a father but was born of another womb. Some think of him as a pretty one, clever of course, and he can talk. But if you're being beaten by him, the stick he wields is as harsh as that of any donkey driver. And if you're being robbed by him, the loss is as bitter as that caused by the most common thief. Officially, he has no power because, as chairperson of the provincial council, he has no budget, no army, no police. All the chairperson can do is listen to complaints and give advice. In my village, this is the job of the old women. But the Prince of Kandahar has power of life and death, power of appointment and sacking, power of granting wealth and taking away across the 5 provinces of Kandahar, Helmand, Uruzgan, Zabul and Farah. In exercising these powers, he is bound by no law and is accountable to no authority. He provides special words for the American Central Intelligence boss in Kabul. The prince takes the gold monthly from the American intelligence boss and spends it into a blanket that provides protection and cover for his evil empire. In return for this gold, he gives the intelligence boss his dirty laundry that is cleaned by the Anwar ISAF. This prince makes the intelligence boss his puppet in a theater of tragedy where our Afghan brothers are discarded for the prince's gain. Unhappy, the governor or general in these provinces who might think of acting without the blessing of the Prince of Kandahar. Many have been sacked, and not a few have been killed. The Prince of Kandahar became famous for his dealing in poppy, but land is even more valuable than the poppy which grows on it. And so The other passion of the King of Kandahar is the stealing of land to amass property for himself, sell to the others at a profit, and dispute as spoils to his loyal supporters. He has grabbed from the Ministry of Defense and he has grabbed from the Kandaharis. Desperate legal owners wave their kawalas in the air, but no authority will entertain their plea. The Attorney General comes to investigate, but is blinded and cannot see the crime. His land grabs drive thousands into the arm of the Taliban, the only force which keeps land safe from the thieving Prince of Kandahar. Murder is an even greater sin than stealing, but for the Prince of Kandahar it is a small matter. Hired assassins and friends in the Taliban quietly make an example of those who cross him or seem to stand against his brother. Habibullah Jan in Panjwai stood up in public and chastised the Prince of Kandahar for his drug smuggling. Soon he was shot. Matiullah Khan, the honest police commander, showed 10% independence and he was surrounded and killed by the Prince of Kandahar's special force. Abdul Rahman, the tribal elder, stood up to the elder brother in a public meeting and the prince had him killed. When the wish of every young Afghan is only for peace, the most unforgivable sin is that the King of Kandahar profits from and encourages the conflict. He has gathered around himself his family friends, introduced them to the foreigners, and built them up as no warlords on the excuse that they protect our roads. Matiullah Popalzai, Abdul Raziq, Ratib Popal, Rohullah, they're all part of this new mafia. But they do not protect our roads. They work hand in glove with their own Taliban, two pigs feeding from the same trough. Is this security when no truck can drive from Kabul to Kandahar or from Kandahar to Trincoat without paying these cousins of the Prince of Kandahar? The Prince of Kandahar controls the government in 5 provinces, and he and his men have surrounded ISAF like jackals round the campfire. He grabs all the ISAF contracts to feed his relatives, but even worse, he takes money from these contracts to pay the terrorists Shura and Quetta, so buying peace for himself and misery for the people of Kandahar. We who are the children of war have heard of the curse of landmines from the day we were born. Every one of us knows a friend who has lost a leg or an arm, blown off by the unexploded shells left by the Russians and others. Our parents taught us to avoid these things like parents in Africa teach their children about snakes. Truly it is a curse that the Taliban have now learned to plant mines and want to do this along every road and every path in the hope of killing NATO. But it is not just NATO they kill. Buses and trucks transporting Afghans travel along the roads where the Taliban see only NATO. Children and women walk along the path where the Taliban dream of catching soldiers. These mines are a new plague in our villages, but we expect nothing else from the Taliban. They are still angry that someone swept them from power, and as long as that anger lasts, they will continue to kill. But we expect our princes to care for the people. Instead, the Prince of Kandahar thinks only of profiting from this craze for mines.